Hi, I'm Eileen Pokorny, and I'm a scientific technician at USDA Invasive Plant Research Lab. This will be a review of why the garden was created and how it progressed over 10 years. First, let's mention the mission of the Invasive Plant Research Laboratory. The mission is to address the complex problem of exotic plant invasions in natural and agricultural ecosystems. Invasions by exotic plants pose one of the most serious threats to the health and integrity of natural and agricultural ecosystems. In order to restore the function and biological diversity of these systems, managing pest plant populations is of critical necessity. The IPRL conducts research into the impacts of exotic plants as well as the safety and effectiveness of biological control and other methods used to manage invasive plants. So now that you have an introduction of the mission at the IPRL, we can proceed with the development of the kind garden. Before the garden, there was just a pond, which was previously used to irrigate the property. Now that we have a well and automatic pump system, we no longer need the irrigation pond. So where there is a discussion among the scientists about filling the pond in to create more area for research. My supervisor, Dr. Philip Tipping, suggested to plant just native habitats on one side and invasive plants on the other. In 2010, on Earth Day, our staff dedicated a field day to create the first habitat, the mesic hardwood hammock. So what exactly is a hardwood hammock, you say? Well, it's a dense stand of broadleaf trees that grow on a natural rise, usually only a few inches in elevation. Hammocks can be found nestled in most Everglades ecosystems. But because of their slight elevations, hammocks rarely flood. Shaded by the sun, by the tall trees, ferns and air plants thrive in these moisture-laden air of these hammocks. After the mesic hammock was created, the next year, in 2011, the coastal upland area was created. Coastal uplands extend from the beach surf zone inland to maritime hammock before transitioning to the dominant inland vegetation type. The beach dune community is a predominantly herbaceous community of a wide-ranging coastalist specialists. Because there's no salt in the air or ground here at our location, many coastal plants have either not survived or are not as healthy, proving how different plant habitats are and the need to have that perfect balance. That same year, in 2011, I was requested to make the old pump house more attractive. As you can see in this picture, it was an eyesore. We requested the Fort Lauderdale Art Institute to do a mural class project. Everything painted, either plant or animal, had to be a Florida native. As you can see, they did a beautiful job at that and learned more about Florida native plants and animals in the process. During the year, we also created a path to walk around the pond. This picture is the accomplishment of that process, but not quite completed. Why did it take so long? Because it was all done by manual digging a level wheelchair accessible area and filling it in with gravel. Dr. Tipping actually did most of this intense labor. During 2013 and 2014, Alex Orphanides worked on an Eagle Scout project that designed and implemented the pine rockland habitat and the pine scrub habitat. This required research to find what plants lived in these habitats and organized a group of scouts to assist in the planning. So, what is a pine rockland? Well, in Florida, there's less than 5% of the original pine rockland habitat left. Pine rockland is a globally impaired habitat with a rich diversity of unique flora and fauna. There are still new species being discovered, frequently in remaining fragments. Looking at a pine rockland forest is seeing what most of Miami actually looked like many years ago before development. The Florida pine scrub is an endangered subtropical forest found throughout Florida. It's found on coastal and inland sand ridges and is characterized by an evergreen plant community dominated by shrubs and dwarf oaks. I'm sure you would agree that Alex's effort should be awarded an Eagle Scout recognition. Finally, the path was completed during this time. This slide also shows the pine rockland and the pine scrub area in the overview. During 2015 and 2016, the Florida Wildflower Pollinator Area was created. Because of the intense slope of this area, terrace levels were needed, so during heavy rain events, soil and plants were not washed into the pond. The last two habitats to mention would be the aquatic and the littoral. These habitats surround the pond. Aquatic plants would either be floating or marginal. Floating plants would not be rooted in the soil, and marginal would be rooted in the soil and would not survive without some source of water. Littoral plants can tolerate changing water levels and usually grow best in these conditions. Here is an overview of the habitat locations. All the native habitats are in green and the invasive are in red. In the years after starting the Kind Garden in 2017, we were recognized by Broward County Naturescape for the Emerald Award at Water Manners Day. There was another Eagle Scout project in 2019. They created a floating island, which has all native aquatic plants. So that will bring us up to date with the last addition to the garden, which is the Bee Hotel, created by Amy Riley and installed by Garrett Stryker, Karina Chang, Effie, and Bill Lewis. We hope this year to find Bee Hotel a desired location for the Florida native bees. All the volunteer hours spent in the Kind Garden from any master gardener or student volunteer is always welcome and appreciated. But most of all, we hope you will have the opportunity to visit soon. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Stay safe and best wishes.